Hello and welcome back to Binyan Laguna in the Philippines. I watch a lot of videos from other vloggers. Manila, Cebu, Angeles City, Tondo, the slums, Smoke Mountain, another slums, slums that were built on top of a landfill. People making shacks out of whatever building materials they can get their hands on. And then I see these people, they badmouth the Philippines, talking about how they're a third world country. Well, in some sense, and in some places, yes, Philippines is a third world country. But it's also, in my opinion, a first, second, and third world country, which is part of its charm. Now, if you want a vacation in the Philippines, then yeah, I recommend going to Manila or Cebu, Angeles City, even to, any of the hundreds of small islands with the beaches, But just make sure you research before you come here. The right time to come here, because you don't want to come here during the rainy season and have the typhoon ruin your vacation. If you want to retire here but you still want the cosmopolitan big city life, then yeah, I would recommend Manila or Cebu or Angeles City, But I wouldn't recommend retiring to the beach. As you can see here, kids out playing in the streets, playing badminton. They don't have the net, but hey, where are you going to put the poles in the ground? But I don't recommend retiring on the beach because you get stuck in a typhoon, it destroys your property. You're out all that money. Go to the beach for a vacation, live in the city. Now, if you're like me, hello, and you want a quiet suburban life, I live in Binyan, in San Pedro, San Francisco, more towards the center of the island. This way, when the rainy season sets in, I'm not affected so much by the typhoons. We still get the torrential rainstorms, flooding, and I would recommend researching what areas are not prone to flooding during the rain season, because you get moved out to it starts flooding and you get evacuated to an evacuation center. Not exactly a place you want to wind up staying. It's not like with the American Red Cross where they set you up in a school gymnasium with cots and blankets and everything. You grab what you can and you go there. You're usually separated from other families by sheets. Not really going to have indoor plumbing, so no toilet. And guys, when you come to the Philippines, whether it's to retire in Manila or any of the big cities, or just for a vacation, use your heads, okay? Just because the women here are Asian, Filipino, and you see these things online all the time about Asian women are attracted to older men. Use your head. Women are women everywhere. You have gold diggers in America, you have gold diggers in the Philippines, you have gold diggers in Korea, Thailand, Vietnam, Europe. You come here, you're a lonely old man. Some of these women are going to take advantage of that. The culture here is really something else. People, they're happy. They're non-confrontational. Unlike in America, you can't even go to the gas station most of the time without some kind of confrontation taking place. You have people here who live in some of the most heartbreaking slums anyone from the West has ever seen. And yet, they're happy. They're optimistic. And they're happy because they're alive and they're with their family. And they have faith. Very Christian country. Mostly Catholic, but, still other religions. Some Muslim. Some Islamists. But, yeah. I've been here since July of 2025. And I love it here. It's more relaxing. In America, I was angry most of the time. Here, I'm not. I've made comments, on these other vloggers' websites about how, they need to show the real side of the Philippines, not just the tourist areas. Like where I live. And I've had other people comment, yeah, but you don't have access to any modern infrastructure, hospitals. Well, that's wrong because I'm within walking distance of a very nice hospital. I'm within walking distance of a mall with groceries, and little markets and street markets here all over the place where you can buy food, internet. I've only had my electricity go out once, and that's when we were when the island was being hit by a typhoon. The power went out for a couple of hours. People are talking about, unreliable internet. Well, my internet is very reliable. No problems. If you've never been here and you've only seen videos, some of these videos, these guys, these foreigners, Westerners, they've had a bad experience here because they thought with the wrong head. They hooked up, 60 years old guy, 70-year-old guy hooks up with a 20-year-old girl, and then he's surprised and angry when she takes his money. Well, of course. They're very family orientated here. A lot of families all still live in the same house together. They take a big building and they convert it into a bunch of, separate apartments. You've got the grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, kids. Cost of living here varies from place to place. Manila, Cebu, Angeles City, along the beach, really expensive for the Philippines. But you get into where I live, I call it the suburbs. Cost of living is a lot less expensive. I'm currently renting a very nice, newly refurbished 2-bedroom apartment. Nothing huge, but big enough for me, my wife, and my stepdaughter. And it's costing me 10,000 Filipino pesos a month, which is approximately 175 US dollars. Okay? That's like the cost of a hotel room in America. Per night. I'm paying 175 US dollars a month. Now you see, we got nice houses and we got houses that need repairs here. We got modern buildings. Right there's the mall. Southwoods Mall. Right around the corner is a 24-hour pharmacy. Hey, right over there, Mercury Drugs, 24-hour pharmacy. Unihealth Southwoods, the green lights on top of the building over there, that's the hospital. Unihealth Southwoods Hospital. Hey, nice place. Very nice place. You get out of the suburb, you get out here. This is not exactly the city center, but it's part of the city. It's on the outskirts of the city. You know, you got a Shakey's, Robinson's Supermarket over here in the mall. There's a TGI Fridays in the mall. There's a McDonald's right there. Not too far away, there's a Burger King and a Wendy's. Gas stations. We have Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts here. Fitness center. KFC. We even have a Kenny Rogers Roasters here. I've never eaten there, and I'm planning on going soon. I mean, I never even ate at the Kenny Rogers Roaster when I was in America and they were there. But I am planning on going and eating there. As you can see, the KFC bucket over there in the distance next to by the hospital. An electric, what they call e-bike. It's kind of like a small golf cart. Little four-wheel vehicle, electric. You can't drive it on like the major roads here, but these 2-lane roads you can drive on in the neighborhoods. You can drive them, but you can't get out on like the 4-lane roads where the speed limits are like 40 kilometers per hour or higher. Drive-through for the pharmacy. Now the pharmacies here are not like they are in America. You know, you go to a doctor, they don't, the doctor doesn't send the prescription to your, you know, your local pharmacy that you use all the time via the computer. Here it's not a computer system. You get a handwritten prescription, you take it to the pharmacy, you hand it to the pharmacist, and they fill it. Clothing boutique, social club, very good food there. I've been there. Shakey's Pizza. But it's like, yeah, it depends on what you want. You can find it here in the Philippines. I don't recommend coming here as a foreigner and trying to start a business because, well, the economy here, it's poor. You know, it's not like the United States of America. It's not like England, you know. It's not like a lot of parts of Europe. It's, people here struggle. To pay their rent, pay their utilities, even though the utilities are nothing compared to, you know, like in the United States. traffic's not so bad right here, but as I get over closer to Wana, around the corner, traffic will start to get bad. Maybe not, because it's Saturday. Cost of fuel $1 to maybe $1.25 per liter right here. See, and there's the hospital. People saying, oh, you have, no infrastructure here. They're wrong. Like I said, it's a combination of first, second, and third world countries, all tied up north. Right over there behind Shakey's is the Kenny Rogers Roaster. Right there's my favorite little ice cream shop, or donut shop, Krispy Kreme. See, and that building there is under construction. Houses here. Okay, in America we call them cinder blocks, basically bricks, and then they have like plaster spread on them. A little mechanic shop here at the Shell gas station to change your oil. Now see, traffic's starting to get kind of backed up here. Call centers, oh yeah, call centers like you wouldn't believe. And some of these people are working 12-hour days in the call centers, trying to make enough money to pay their rent, pay their utilities, buy food, and still have money to, for extra stuff, few extra things. Like I said, if you're planning on coming here and starting a business, don't. Because you're not going to make any money. And even if you do just start a small business, it's going to take you a long time to even come close to making any kind of a profit. I mean, I moved here because, quite frankly, well, for one, I fell in love with a Philippine woman and decided I wanted to get married. And also because I didn't want to live in the United States anymore. I was angry all the time. I couldn't go to the store without some kind of confrontation taking place, Traffic. You'll notice it's really, really busy here. Do you hear car horns? No. You know why? Because no one's in a hurry. They know it's going to take a while, and they don't stress about it. The only time you really hear a car horn here is like with these motorbikes, when they're passing you on the left or the right, they'll honk to let you know that they're going to pass you. Sometimes they honk to say thank you. Sometimes they honk to get your attention because they're going to let you pull in front of them, merge in front of them, or pull across the street in front of them. We had a few business here, tire business. Basically, it's they repair tires and sell used tires. They fix flats. They call it vulcanizing here. And then here's the, a few street markets, fruits, vegetables. The gas stations I love because they're full service. They fill your tank for you. Or they put in as much, however much you want. You tell them 100 pesos, they put 100 pesos in. Tell them fill it up, they fill it up. But there's a little bit of everything here for everyone in the Philippines. You just need to look. Excuse po.
Ay, sorry, sorry.
Thank you. And the people here, they're also very, well, generous. I watched one of our, a vlogger from Australia who was doing hitchhiking across from Cebu to San Marcos and then Toledo, 3 different islands. He was hitchhiking and trying to get rides for free. And he was telling people he didn't have money, but they gave him rides. One couple, the husband was from Canada, the wife was Filipina. They gave him a ride with them on the ferry, crossing over to one of the islands, and invited him to the wife's uncle's 50th birthday party, and then they invited him to sleep on their couch for the night. The next morning they took him out to breakfast, bought him breakfast. There was one point he was telling someone he was trying to get a ride to somewhere, and he was telling the people he had no money, and this Philippine gentleman pulls out 170 pesos out of his own pocket, and he says, "Here, take this. This is all I have." You know, and he was giving a foreigner money so he could get food because the foreigner said he has no money. And granted, it was a lie. He's got money. His channel is monetized, but he was just trying to show how generous the people are here. Now, if you move here, you definitely want to get a split type aircon, which is like the ones on the second floor there, because they're more energy efficient than those window aircons. Not to mention they're a lot quieter. This is a church, of course. Let's see, quiet life here. Friendly people, generous. These are jeepneys. They're kind of like a bus that you take in the cities, and it'll take you from one city to another, like Binyan to San Pedro to Santa Rosa, and so forth and so on, all these other cities. Here's a playground in the neighborhood. Got a basketball court, swings. The kids in the neighborhood come over here and play. Cell phone tower. The cell phone coverage is really good here too. Like I say, it just depends on what you're looking for. You can find it here. Just research so you know where you're going. And here, basketball, big thing. Big thing here. People come and watch the kids play basketball. They have little local basketball leagues, Kids out here playing with paper airplanes. The families, they come over here. They put, the adults play basketball, the kids play basketball, and the families sit and watch. And this is just a group of friends, neighbors playing right now. But yeah, don't ever let anybody tell you that the Philippines is a third world country, that it's slum, that it's a bad place to live. that you're going to be scammed, because you can find that anywhere in the world. Even in America, you're going to be scammed by people. See, here's where the young kids play. Teeter-totters, or as we called them where I was from as a kid. Seesaws, monkey bars, swings, you know. Yeah, it's dirty, it needs to be cleaned up, but you know. Hi. Huh? At home playing with Kalia and Alexa. Music. Oh yeah. And of course you're going to hear this from every vlogger in the Philippines. Karaoke. Big karaoke fans here. And you'd be amazed at how many people here can actually sing. Actually have a nice voice. You know, the women here always look younger than they are. And I think it's because, well, they don't have the stress like they do in the West. And this right here, it's kind of like a it's kind of like a Jeep, but it's made out of a stainless steel body. You know? I mean, so don't let anyone tell you Philippines, don't go, it's trashy, you'll get scammed, crime. There's more crime in America than there is here. But of course it doesn't, you know, doesn't hurt that like you'll go to McDonald's here or the grocery store here or Burger King, you know, or to the bank, and they have armed guards. And I'm talking guards armed with a shotgun and a sidearm. Because they don't really have police that patrol the streets. You know, they don't have traffic enforcement police. They have traffic control that comes out during rush hour and goes to intersections like four-way intersections and directs traffic. You know, on the busier streets, you will occasionally see an officer drive by on a motorbike with their, you know, the pole in the back that has the red and blue flashing light. But they're not really enforcing anything. You know, you're not getting pulled over for speeding. You're not getting pulled over for your registration being expired or having no insurance or having a warrant out for your arrest, you know, like in America. And the traffic, I've said this before, I love the traffic here. It's chaotic, okay? It's chaotic, but yet at the same time, it's kind of like, you know, it has its own beauty. You know, like 1,000 choreographed moves all happening, you know, or 1,000 choreographed dancers, all with different moves happening all at once. It's just, you know, I'm amazed, surprised that I don't see, you know, several accidents a day. But it's like, I've been here since July of 2025. I've only seen 2 accidents. And that was because a motorbike cut too close to a car and got hit because they were coming from the right-hand side and the driver didn't see them. You know, he kind of clipped them. You know, no big body damage, you know, no bodily injuries like in America, you know, like in the West. And I wouldn't even really call them fender benders, because like I said, there's really no body damage done to the vehicles. It's just all clip. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay? Yeah, is there any body damage? Yeah. No? Okay, well, sorry about that. Have a nice day. And that sound is what's called an ambulance, but it's not like the ambulances that you find in the West. That's a patient transport. You know, the doctor's appointments are from one hospital to another. Here in my suburb, my neighborhood, a place called Roots. It's a restaurant. Haven't eaten here yet, because I'm not really sure what they serve. But one of these days I will investigate, because I've only lived here since September. But anyway, that's my video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and subscribe.